Literacy Club fans, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I see where we're having wonderful, wonderful, meaningful discussion, and that's awesome. We talked about, we had a little group discussion, and we talked about engaging other factors who are unable to totally identify letters, right? Remember, these are within age group, age limit, but there are older factors who are unable to identify letters. And these, as we say before, are fun activities. Now we have this letter square, but it's like a picture graph, right? So you can see on this one, it's beginning letter sound. And you have the picture, you have the letter, and you have the word, right? What this seeks to do for those factors, they can look at the picture. The first thing you do, you present to them the picture. Persons will be able to identify a picture. So they can look at the picture for the first example and say, oh, that's a cup. When you say cup, you ask them, what's the first sound you hear in identifying that picture, right? Be it that it sounds off or it sounds familiar, you hear a sound. Tell me what's the first sound you hear when you say cup, and you put emphasis on the k sound so they can be conscious and cognizant and aware of the k sound that you're trying to bring to the understanding of the factor. So when they look at the picture, they would see the cup, and you reproduce that sound so they can become familiar and get an understanding that that is what you're trying to have them identify. So when they identify the cup, you now show them the letter. You say, okay, then this is the letter that begins that word. What's the word? Cup. The picture shows you a cup, and having seen the cup, you now see the letter that begins the word cup, and you now can identify the letter that begins the word cup. Another fun activity that was looked at was loading on a train, the different carts on a train, right? And as you go on each cart on the train, before you reach the head of the train, you say cup. Having reached the head of the train, you call the entire word, right? And that too can help them identify. Let's go to the second example. Boat. Boat. What's the name of this picture? It's a boat. When you say boat, 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 what's the initial sound you hear? You hear a b, b, b sound. Yes, this is the letter that makes that sound. Look, put focus on the letter itself, and then the person will understand that this letter is the first letter when you hear when you call the word boat. And then you can move over to the word itself, and you put emphasis on the initial letter, not on the rest of the letter, because the idea is to identify the initial letter, right? We know that these letters are there in other words or in other parts of the words, but we are now identify the initial letter. We put emphasis on the initial because having learned the initial letter sound, you can go ahead and identify it. And remember, literacy club fans, remember we would have discussed already that letters make sound, and letters and sounds make words, and words make sentences, and sentences make paragraphs, and paragraphs make stories. So it's important that we put emphasis on the initial letter sound. Not only that, having put emphasis on the initial letter sound, we can move ahead, and we would have discussed that already, that the long sound says its name. Remember, we would have done that. I see where a comment says that we need to also discuss that. It tells me that you have not revisited the different parts that we have, different ones that we have put up. Remember, we would have discussed that the long letter sound says its name, especially when it's beside another vowel. The first one says its name. When two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. What do you mean by that? The first one says its name. It's going to be long. So it's going to say its name, like A and E. Right? When it's in a word, it's the A is going to say its name because it's the first one, so it's going to say its name. A. Right? So when two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. It means, therefore, that the first one says its name. The second one is very lazy. It doesn't say anything. Very lazy. All right? So letter makes sound. Letters and sound makes word. Words make sentences. Sentences makes paragraph. And paragraphs make story. Gives information. Right? And so subscribe, share, like the page, leave a comment, share it with a friend, share it with somebody, share it with your class, share it with a colleague, share it with your neighbor, discuss it, and so we can have more for you in the literacy club. Also, we will be having more on the holistic engagement. Bye, enjoy.